Bad.
Yep.
Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Loring here. Mr. Schulte
Here.
Mr. DeBoer
Here.
and Mr. Helmers is here. Oh, you finally gonna show up. Mr. Randy Hoof.
Here.
Consider the approval of the July 28th, 2026 agenda.
Any changes?
I don't have any.
I'll make a motion.
Motion for Mr. Schulte. Second for Mr. Loring. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. July 21, 2026 minutes.
Motion for their approval.
Motion from Mr. Vanderbilt,
Second it.
support from Mr. DeBoer. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I oppose, same sign. Motion carried. August schedule.
The 11th and the 25th for sure. We have to meet.
When?
The 11th and the 25th is our normal Tuesdays.
Motion for the, what would you say, the 11th and the
25th.
and the 25th? From August. Mr. Warren? Support from Mr. Schulte. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Consider correction to the July 26 minutes.
I should have had included in there, the lawyers were present, the legal fees, the county attorney, and then Nathan and Brandon and Dan Dakota via phone. I had it in the closed session minutes, but not in the regular meeting minutes, then I probably should have had that in there. My apologies for that. So we just need to add.
I'll make a motion for that correction.
And a motion from Mr. Schulte for that correction, support from Mr. DeBoer. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Consider approval for levy rates for fiscal year 26-27.
Those are those. This sheet right here is the levy rates. What they will be and what they were. One thing I do wanna make note of, the EMS levy. You know, we voted for 45 cents, but legislation changed the rules on that. Before that 45 cents was only used for the base on TIF districts. Now we can use the incremental value. So it's the same dollar amount as what was approved, but the levy rate reduced, I think, to 42 cents instead of the 45 cents. And that was a legislation change, so the state made that, Department of Management made that change for us. So if you have any questions on that, that's why. So going forward, it'll have all of the TIF valuation increment and the base value. Yeah, cause it's at, 0.42781 is the new levy rate prior to the 45 cents that was voted on.
And then that vote authorized up to 45 cents, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's the same, we're getting the same dollar amount that we budgeted, it's just a lower rate for this year only, and then next year will be back up to the 45 cents.
Any more discussion? Consideration?
So Tony went down a little bit, right?
Right.
For the total.
Some went down, each taxing district's different,
Yeah,
some went up, some went down.
The motion for approval.
Have a motion, Mr. Randall, to approve levy rate 26.27.
support.
Support for Mr. Schulte. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Consider approval of claims.
I got an email from John yesterday that, fire, he forgot to include that in the pay app last time. For, for the fire group of 40,438.25, it's on page 8. He didn't include it in the pay app, but they needed to get paid, so I added it for this time to get paid.
Will he note that in next month's pay app or?
He sent me a revised one,
revised
but
for this last month?
yeah, he sent me one.
There's two claims in here for Boswell Water Service from Conservation's number 157 and Courthouse is number 211.
Make a motion to pay the two for Boswell Water.
I have a motion from Mr. Schulte to pay
Support it.
two claims for Boswell Water. Support from Mr. DeBoer, any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstain.
Abstain.
What was the one you were talking about? Michelle,
The fire group one,
on page what is it?
10, top of 10.
Make a motion to pay the rest of the claims.
Motion from Mr. Schulte. For the remainder of the claims. The 300-acre one for, it says uniforms.
yeah, that was from, I think,
Sanitarian.
no, Corey got uniforms, uniform shirts.
Bunch of t-shirts and stuff.
Oh, okay. Motion for support from Mr. Roy. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Couple minutes, I don't think we have time to discuss the employee handbook. The other Jack wants to be on the phone.
Yep, and he was unavailable till 9:45, so that's why I have it the last part of the agenda. So we're probably gonna have to recess from the drainage and then recess back into the regular meeting.
Well, it's just about 9 o'clock. You got anything to hand out or anything? Or
Yeah,
we can maybe get started with that.
Is Spencer gonna be on the phone for this one?
I don't think so. I'll pass some copies around this way. So, this is for the Idles wetland.
Yep.
So we finished construction plan, specifications are put together. And Idles has approved it. So what we need to do now is bidding. So we're gonna use EJCDC, general bid forms. So this form that I just handed you is the 050 form. It is not a part of the bid packet. It is just a guidance document for us to go through and get information from you guys. So all of the different options on this form, at the end of the day, is your decision. But we've gone through, Spencer and I have, and pre-filled it out, basically with whatever we typically do for bidding these projects. And there's a couple specific items that I've highlighted within there that I want to go over with you guys. And then I've also sent in previously a bunch of other forms that were just for reference. So the information that we go over in this 050 form will be transferred onto those official EJCDC forms. And that's what we'll use to bid it. Before we start going through this, I'll say that ISG is an engineering firm, we're not attorneys. So this is standard documentation, but we do recommend that you guys have your attorney look at this once all forms are filled out. We also recommend that your insurance agents look at these documents too, specifically the 051 form, which will go over more of the liability insurance and all those things. So does that make sense to everybody, or any questions on that?
So do they have your normal county attorney, or do they have like a drainage attorney look these over, or does it
This
matter?
should be, I think it'd be your normal county attorney.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing on this one is we are pulling water from the drainage district. So maybe they wanna look at it too, but we're not really affecting the drainage district infrastructure at all. On this project, we're adding height, to the ditch banks, I guess, since we have extra spoil here, so we're just putting it right along the ditch there, added height. So if they wanted to look at that, they could, but really we shouldn't be affecting the drainage district infrastructure at all.
Okay.
Any other questions before we start going through this? Okay. So page 2, owner's legal counsel, if we check yes on this will receive this permission, to work directly with your attorney. Is that okay? Or we can work through you guys if you wanna send these documents to your attorney, get his feedback, and then do that email chain back and forth. Huh?
Or,
Okay.
do you think just our attorney looks at it?
Yes.
Will she be comfortable with that?
That's what I was just thinking. If she's not, then I'd say we go on to the drainage attorney. I forget his name,
Brian Young.
yeah.
At whose cost would that be?
Cause that's probably not a reimbursable cost through IDLES, is it? That'd be the county's expense.
And it's not required, it's just recommended.
I guess all we can do is see what Dawn has to say about it, so. Okay,
Okay, and then can I get that contact info?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll just send that to me afterward?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the same thing, the one below that, 2.5 is gonna be that insurance agent. And that one, we will need to have some back and forth there. We have the 051 form, which we'll send to them, they'll review it, but a lot of times they wanna talk through it with us. And so if that's okay with y'all, then we'll get their contact info as well. Sound alright?
Sounds good.
And I'm not gonna hit on each one of these. If we're going through this and you see something that catches your eye, just interrupt me and we can talk about it, so. If we flip to the next page, item 3.2. Warranty bond, so. This is gonna be the same as a performance bond, except it extends it past the 1-year mark, so once construction is complete, we'll have that performance bond, so if something, breaks, the pump breaks, burn fails, seating doesn't come up within that 1 year, contractor's required to go out and fix it, or reseat or whatever it is. The warranty bond, which is extended past that 1 year mark, past the performance bond. We don't typically do a warranty bond. But, so like we pre-marked not required, but if you want to, we can.
what do you guys think?
Can IDLES agreement maintain it for a certain period of time? I thought there was not a requirement on us to.
Yeah, so that would be, so IDOLS would be responsible for upkeep of it, for the, I believe it's 30 years. This would be if something related to construction of it, so if seating didn't come up, then the contractor's required to come back out and reseed at no extra cost. So that was if they failed to do something properly during construction. So I don't know that IDOLS would necessarily cover that. Again, we don't typically see it within the IDOLS contract documents.
But you normally don't require that.
No.
What do you guys thoughts? Do it, don't do it?
And it's always worked pretty good. I mean, if it hasn't with everything coming up and
Yeah, and so like the big thing that I see is the seating maybe doesn't get established if they miss a seating window or something. But there's multiple seating windows within the year. We'll have a CA guy on site a lot of the time to make sure that stuff is getting done properly and to our satisfaction. So like the main thing I see happening is the seating maybe doesn't come through, but typically we'll be able to work with the contractor to get back out there and get it done. So yeah.
Alright, everybody okay with that? Alright,
If we flip to page 6, Item 4.7. This is gonna be date and time for receipt of bids. So we'll fill out all the bid forms, we'll post it, to public forums. It'll be posted for, I think it's a minimum of 3 weeks, we'll probably post it for about 4 weeks to get bids in. And then this is just, when we can specify deadline to receive those bids. And so we can specify, the engineer can specify that as a later date. And so what's probably gonna happen, we'll get to the information, we'll fill out all the forms, have your attorney look at that, have your insurance agents look at that. It's probably gonna be a couple weeks before we can get all this ready to actually post and bid, and then a month from there is probably when we would set that bid deadline. So if you guys are comfortable with it, we can set that date, and you guys don't have to worry about it. Or you guys can specify the date that you want now.
I'd say you can.
So does my office have to publish anything then, or you take care of that, or?
Yeah, so I think
Or is
that'll
that,
be on the next sheet.
okay, I'm sorry, I
All
was
good, all
ahead of
good.
time, okay.
And so next sheet, page 7, 4.8, place of receipt of bids. So I've specified online bidding here. If you guys want a physical location to open bids, we can do that. Otherwise, online will just be through a Teams meeting. We'll send out a link to all the contractors to you guys. You can sit on it. We'll just read through all the bids and open them up and stuff online, if that's okay with you.
Fine with me.
And then public bid opening again, that'll be online. And yeah, so yeah, online location doesn't matter there. If we jump down to 4.12, so this is where we'll post bids. So Quest CDN, Master Builders of Iowa. We have to have 3 public locations to post it to. So I'll have to find a 3rd one there because local newspapers don't count. And then if you guys have a list of contractors you want us to send it to via email, we can also do that.
I know, you guys.
Yeah, we could get it on the board for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so yeah, we would handle all that posting then, so you don't have to worry about it.
And you would do the local newspaper then,
Yeah, we can submit that. I might submit it to you. to
That's
kind
fine.
of Send it to the newspaper.
okay,
But yeah, we'll do the write-up and stuff. And
Okay.
that one is just, that one might not happen because it's not legally required. And if we have that list of contractors to send it to directly, it might not be necessary, or we might not view it as necessary, so. If we have to page 10, 4.19. Owner's requirements for, I've got the pre-bid conference highlighted there. Pre-bid is not required, but it is something we do on a lot of the IDOLS projects, and that's just to make sure contractors can come, they can ask the questions they have ahead of submitting their bid. And so it just gives them a more comfortable feel for the project. And then we can also kind of see what contractors showed up and what questions they ask, and allows us to be a little more comfortable with who's bidding on it. And so we do recommend that we do pre-bid conference. And that again can be all online through Teams. We set that up. You guys can join if you want to.
Okay.
Good with that, okay? We flip to page 11. Contract time, substantial completion and or final completion. So looking at our timeline for this year, typically what we see is construction will start in the fall. So once crops are out, typically this one, they have access via the trail. So they'll probably start October, November. They should be able to get the majority of work done this fall. But pending weather circumstances, if they miss the seeding window, then that'll continue into the spring. So we'll probably recommend a substantial completion of end of the spring seeding period, which I believe is May 15th, or end of May 30th. That's what we would recommend, but again, the decision is your guys's. So if you want to see it sooner than that, we can put that in there as well. So we would recommend that substantial completion be by the following date of May 15th to May 30th, 2027, somewhere in there.
right with that?
You with that? Okay. Liquidated damages, so if they don't finish their completion or meet their substantial completion by that date, what damages are gonna be assessed on a daily basis after that? A lot of our projects, we see anywhere from $250 to $1,500. If this one doesn't get completed by that May deadline in 2027, I don't see a whole lot of damages to the county, other than they'll have signs on that trail and they might have equipment moving down that trail. So I would recommend yes to liquidated damages, but on the low end. So 250 to 500.
That says 250 should be good.
Page 13, 5.11.
I was gonna say, don't take my word, see what else.
It's fine with me.
Yeah, there isn't any private ground included or needed, so.
Okay.
So page 13, contractor's working schedule. This is just when we're gonna specify their normal working hours. Since this is in the country, shouldn't be affecting a whole lot of people. That could be an expanded date. I do ask though that we consider our construction administrators' time, so that they don't have to be out there on weekends to observe and work. They don't have to be out there at midnight to watch and work or on holidays. So something that we've seen is like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Are you guys okay with that, or do you want something different?
Sounds good to me.
Recognize holidays. So knowing it's fall construction in the spring, that's probably gonna be Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, maybe Memorial Day. Is there anything beyond those holidays that you guys would wanna recognize?
I don't think so.
Moving on. We flip to page 15. Item 5.17. Actually,
What about that 5.12?
yes, thank you. Payoffs, yes, that's an important one. So when do you guys want to receive payoffs? And then what day of the month, do you want as your deadline to pay those payoffs? So for IDOLs, typically they do one payoff allotted per month. And then it's like a month, they'll specify when they're gonna complete that payoff. A lot of times IDOLs doesn't meet that, and working through with the contractor. But if you want like payout due on the first day of each month, and then y'all have 2 weeks to approve that payout. So like maybe the 15th of each month. And the process of how that's gonna work is contractor will submit the payout to us. We'll look at it, make sure that what he's marked down is accurate to what's been done in the field. In terms of work done and items stored, we'll approve it, everybody will sign it, and then send it to you guys to pay.
Is that for you, Michelle?
Yeah, so, but currently, we send, like your bill, we send to Idols, and then they pay us,
Yes.
and then we
Yeah,
pay.
yeah.
So
Okay.
how's that
So it's
gonna work this,
extended.
how's this gonna work with this?
Yeah, I don't know how fast that will go, so I'm assuming that's gonna be Tracy Bloker. Have you worked with her before with eyeballs?
Yeah, we never know, we just,
Okay.
the treasurer's office lets us know that they
Okay.
receive a check, and then we pay you guys, so that would be my only concern here.
Yeah, so I might add another week, since that's some extra hands there that it has to go through.
Yeah, it takes about 2 or 3 weeks for us, once you guys to submit it to get to us, so.
Okay. And that's something too that I'm pretty sure that will go through Tracy, and so I can stay on top of Tracy to push some of this stuff through faster.
Or unless the board doesn't care if we don't get reimbursed first, I mean, we pay it and then we get reimbursed, that's up to the board, that's, I mean, currently we get reimbursed first, and then we pay ISG, so.
So I would maybe say,
As long as you're accounting for it, if you can highlight the ones that didn't get reimbursed. I'd be okay with sticking with the first and 15th, but if you wanna push it back, that makes sense, get reimbursement and then make a payment either way.
you wanna push it back to the 21st or,
Yeah, I mean, we usually pay claims the second and fourth Tuesday of the month,
okay,
so just depending on, you know, like October, we won't pay until the 13th or the 20, you know, so we wouldn't get it till, you know,
yeah, and if you wanna do like a fourth Tuesday of each month, we can do that too. if
that might be
that's-
better,
that's
maybe the
better.
fourth
yeah.
Tuesday of each month might be better.
Okay,
And push Teresa.
push and trace it.
Yeah.
She's got it.
You can tell her I said that.
So, how much of a project are we talking about here? We'll know more with the bids, cause I'm probably gonna have to do a budget amendment, cause I don't have this in the budget. Even though we get reimbursed, we still gotta budget the expense of it.
Yeah, I'd have to look at bid docs. This one I wanna say is, like, you're talking project cost, construction cost.
Yeah.
I wanna say 250 to 300,000.
Okay, and we'll know more once we go.
Costs. Yeah, once we go through
before we
bid
do our
docs, we'll look
budget.
at our estimate, cost estimate.
Okay.
We'll do that answer
Okay.
on that. So that's my initial.
So I'm not to a budget amendment yet, but when I am, I'm gonna have to know that, okay?
Yep. Okay, so contractors' applications for payment must be received on, I'm gonna say, so we're going fourth Tuesday of each month of when you guys have to make the payment.
So I would like it like the Friday before by noon or something, so that we have,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
I
but
can't have it the day of, I mean, we would pay it the fourth Tuesday of every month, but I would need it like that Friday before.
Yeah, and I'm thinking I want it within that, the first week of the month.
Okay.
So if we specified, so let's see, October, I can say first Tuesday of each month to receive it from the contractor.
Yeah.
And then,
As long as they know we get paid the last
okay,
Tuesday, or the fourth Tuesday of the month, then.
yep,
Okay.
okay, so we'll go first Tuesday. Each month, and then payment on the fourth Tuesday. Put this there. Okay, now page 15, item 5.17, additional owner's requirements, so like I said, all of these documents are typical EJCBC documents, and so that's what we're gonna use, as our, conditions, and then I have the C800 and C700, which are supplementary conditions, so those will be everything that we use. Do you guys have any documents, other than those that you want added to these contract items? Typically, we don't see any, but in case you do.
guys need anything else?
I can't think of anything right offhand.
Alright. Think that's good?
Okay. And then the last one here is page 17, item 5.19, this is just for subcontractors. So, a lot of these projects will have subcontractors, if the prime contractor gets behind on schedule, he might hire a sub, he might hire a sub to do the electrical, since this one does have a lift station. One, you can allow the prime contractor to have a subcontractor, or you can say you can't have a subcontractor. Our recommendation would be to allow that, but if you guys want the prime contractor to be responsible for a minimum of, say, the first option here is 40% of the total original contract cost, you can specify that. And that's probably the one that we would go with or typically see. But you guys are free to change that if you want to see the prime contractor do more.
What do you guys think? Any comments?
Trying to think of 40 or 50%. Whichever.
whichever. Okay, we'll probably stick with 40%.
That okay with everybody? Yeah. Okay.
And then that next one, that next bullet right below it is no subcontract will be able to sublet to another subcontractor. So that then you get into the weeds there if you're just adding more subcontractors. So if you want, we can mark that as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that third item is just that the contractor has to let us know if he's gonna sublet. And that's something we would also just at least let him know. So, we can't necessarily dictate that, well, we can, I guess, but we at least want a notice of it, so that would just be another one that we would typically check mark.
Alright.
And that gets us to the end there. Again, you guys are free to read through the rest of these items that we can cover on here, and provide comment if you want, if you have any questions or concerns. Otherwise, it's just typically what we do on the other projects that we bid out. Like I said, we'll use this to fill out the rest of the forms, have your attorney look at it, and then the other document, which we don't need to go through today, is just the 051 form, which is just an engineer's letter to the owner concerning bonds and insurance. So this is a document that we really want to go have your insurance agent look at, and there is some items in here that we will want to be filled out by them, and we can do those phone calls and emails with them, if you all are okay with that. I'm guessing a couple weeks for us to turn this around in terms of filling out documents and doing that communication with the attorney and insurance agent, and then from there we can post bids and we'll keep you guys in the loop on when that all happens and as we proceed. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. How do you guys wanna do this? Wanna go out of a regular meeting? We do have the 9:15, which was passed, right?
I'll make a motion to recess for drainage meeting.
Motion, Randy, up to recess for drainage meeting. Support from Mr. Schulte. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are recessed. Open drainage district 10 and 22 meeting. Consider the approval of the July 20, 2016 agenda.
Any changes?
I don't have any.
I'll make the motion on the agenda.
Motion from Schulte, support from Warren for the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. February 24, 2026 minutes. Get a chance to look at those minutes.
So this number 10 is Dykstra or the one down south?
22 is Dykstra, 10 is starts with the train tracks to the south.
The motion on the minutes.
February 24.
Yeah.
Have a motion for February 24 minutes. Support from Mr. DeBoer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. April 14, 2026, brings us to 10 and 22 minutes.
Minutes just state number 22. April 14.
Was the minutes the same?
Or maybe I made a mistake, I thought it was for both meetings. Maybe it was just for 22, do you know, Barb?
I think we discussed both.
Someone said that.
10 is mentioned later, but
Yeah, but in the heading, it just had drainage ditch 10.
Yeah, we talked about both, so. Want to take a motion on it?
Motion to both.
Have a motion from Lauren to accept the minutes. Okay,
both, but that's to keep a record in each district's file if we approve them for both, or it's an actual meeting for 10, but,
I do keep a record in both.
okay.
had a motion from Lauren, didn't I?
I was asking,
Oh, you were asking?
if it's for both of them or the 22.
It is for both of them?
I think it should have been, yeah, for the, yeah, on April
So it is
14
for
should have
both
been,
of
we
them.
should have corrected that in the header.
Cause it talks about both of them in there, so. Do I, was that a motion or not?
Yeah.
Do I have support?
I'll support.
Support from Mr. Randy, if all those in favor say aye.
I,
Alright,
Opposed, same sign, motion
I
carried.
was just thinking, my great niece works for ISG. Do I have to abstain?
I
I don't know.
don't think, I think we haven't abstained before.
I know, I was just thinking about that.
They're
Yeah, question?
not working on this
My
project.
great niece works for ISG. Do I have to abstain? I never even thought of that before.
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
She's interior design,
What?
right? She's interior design, right?
I don't know what she does.
Yeah, not related to what I do.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, file ISG existing conditions repair report. Who's got that? Okay,
Yes.
alright.
You guys want to just pin that down? And you guys want this? You guys got this, brother. I see it. I'll also do them guys. I'll turn off for these ones. This is just a blown up class. Of DD22. Also, some pull-outs of that in the report.
Big one.
So this report is basically just an existing conditions report, what we found out there. I'm not gonna read through the whole thing, I'll kind of go high level on what's been done so far and what we found. And then, kind of our recommendations and what we're asking for, which is just approval to kind of move to the next step in this process, so. Up to this point, as you'll find in the report here, when it goes through the scope of study and history of the districts, is that we had petition filed. We did a drone inventory, so we flew DD22 and DD10 to Michigan River, all the way from pretty much the Minnesota-Iowa border down to the south end of the county. So we have that drone footage, and then Eric Siebenaller, came out and did a field visit with, is that what you know? Okay, so with these guys and then with a couple landowners, just to get a feel for what it looked like in person, and then as well to get, hear from the landowners what they were seeing and what they wanted. And then through that drone footage that we have and through those in-person meetings, and then an additional desktop review of conditions, we've put together a report here, so. D 10 and 22, also known as the Ocean River, these drainage districts were established in the early 1900s. D 10 was 1909 and 1910, and D 22 was 1915 and 1960. So prior to them, this was just an existing stream or river. That plat that I handed out there, that shows the existing conditions before the drainage districts were established, before the ditch was dug. And then there's one line that kind of runs through the center, and that's the line, that's what they straightened it to, right? So you can see the meandering, you can see the winding of it, and then you can see what they cut it down to. And that happened in the early 1900s. And so yeah, this report also has images of those plats in there. Page 4 has a zoomed in one of the one that I handed out as well. And so what do we find out there? Basically, we found what the landowners were telling us, right? The river is re-meandering, right? It's doing what a river wants to do, which is meander itself, slow itself down by winding about. So it's trying to redo that. Banks are sloughing, sedimentation is occurring, it's incising. So yeah, there's some beaver dams out there, woody vegetation is coming back. And so yeah, it's basically trying to re-find its equilibrium as a river since it was straightened out 100 some odd years ago. One thing I want to point out specifically, there's a couple more images of the existing site conditions to this report. If we flip to page 8, that's going to be our summary recommendation report. There's a table on this sheet that goes through the original length of the stream. And so you can see DD 22 there was originally 22.6 miles, DD 10 was originally 11 miles. Today, those lengths are 9 miles for DD 22, 9.5 miles, and then 6.3 miles for DD 10. So that reduction there for DD 22 is 57%, and the DD 10 reduction is 52%. So between the two systems combined, that's a 50% reduction in stream length. And Spencer had a pretty good analogy, so I'm going to steal it from him to kind of explain what that means and why that's important. So, have any of you guys downhill skied before, like in the winter?
Not well.
No, okay, well, this might not stick then, but right, there you go. So if you think about a downhill skier, if you watch the Olympics or something, you can just go straight down, right? And that's, you pick up a ton of speed, you're out of control. What do they do to slow themselves down? They cut back and forth, and that's how they maintain control and slow themselves down. That's what rivers and streams do. And that plat from the early 1900s, that's what the rivers are. It's going back and forth, the water's slowing down, it's stable, there's equilibrium. What happened when the districts were established and created is you cut a straight line through it. And so now instead of going back and forth through a straight line, it got a lot steeper, and so that water picks up a lot of velocity, and it's just going as fast as it can down the system. Which is good for farmland because you're draining that water, so you get more farmable land there. But it's bad for erosion and bank stability. So basically, that stream, and I believe there's a diagram on here that shows it on page 10. It shows the stages of this, right? So that stream went from stable, and then they dug it out, tried to establish the banks on it, straighten it, and then it incised itself, so it digs down to steepen, so it steepens that grade of that ditch. Water speeds up, and so then you get more erosion, and so it's taking more of that bank off, more sloughing occurs, and so that ditch gets wider. So that's stage 3 is that widening, and then your banks get real steep, they start to slough off, right? Stage 4 is that deposition and stabilization, where those banks have sloughed off, and now you can kind of see there, you start to get kind of a 2-stage ditch there, with the bottom channel. And then those sloughs will form another bank, and then you'll go up to the next bank. And then stage 5 would be equilibrium once the stream is settled out again and has been allowed to re-meander and do what it wants to do. If you let this go for another 100 years, it'll probably hit stage 5, and it'll probably look like that original plat again, or somewhat close to that, where it's just gonna widen out, re-meander, keep doing its thing. Right now, you're currently in stages 3 and 4. for DD 10 and DD 22, which is widening, and then trying to establish equilibrium. So we do recommend repairs and improvements. We recommend, what we wanna do is wanna target those to the petition plans. So the last page in the report highlights in red, it's just a map of the systems, and it highlights, or outlines in red the parcels that were petitioned. And so those would be the areas that we focus on. Now, in discussion with the landowners, some of them want the traditional approach, I'll call it, which is to straighten or armor banks. So put a lot of riprap out there and armor it so it doesn't keep expanding. And some other landowners are open to more alternatives, which would be to either put in remeanders, to put in rock riffles, or to put in some sort of storage there to hold water instead of sending everything down so fast. And so what we'd like to do is in our next phase here is kind of look at the concept options of what it would look like to, if we restrained or armored everything, what that would look like in terms of cost. But then we'd also like to examine if we can identify alternative solutions, i.e. those rock riffles, remeandering, or storage systems, what that would cost, and identify some areas that we could potentially do that on. That's kind of our next step there. There's some illustrations as well in here. If you go to page 9, there's a 2-stage ditch on that. That was done in Minnesota by us, and you can see there the main channel, or the low flow channel, which conveys normal flows. And then above that is another bank, so if you get a rain event or a high flow event, it'll build up to that, and then it'll expand that stream width, so it expands capacity. But on an overflow, all those are vegetated, so you have stabilization there, so it prevents erosion and bank cutbacks and stuff. On page 11, you can see a rock riffle there. That was also another project that was done in South Dakota by ISG. And again, that's just to help as we go through banks to return to slow that water down and provide stabilization to those ditches. Any questions on all that? That was a lot to get through right there.
Any idea on cost? Not even close.
Yeah, we haven't looked at that yet, so, yeah, traditionally, on drainage districts, a lot of times we'll just specify a full clean out, right? And that's gonna be redigging out the bottom, establishing that bottom width again, and then pulling slopes either 2 to 1, 2 to 1, whatever it may be. This one, since these are large systems, if we did the traditional approach, it would, again, would just be targeting the petitioned areas, and not like the whole stream to the whole county, or not the whole system. And so we have not looked at cost yet on that. That'd be part of our next phase. But then those alternative solutions again would just be targeting the petitioned areas. And so yeah, we're not saying that we're not gonna put the stream back to its original path from the early 1900s. That's not possible. We're not recommending that. We just wanna look at the options. And try to slow water down. And so really, if you go with that traditional option of straighten riprap, you're gonna keep having these same issues. A river wants to meander and wants to do its thing. And so if you keep trying to force it into a straight path, you're gonna come back to this every how many years. Have to keep adding expenses. And so the goal of looking at alternative options would be to maybe we can use some more natural solutions to try to prevent that upkeep cost over the years. Again, talking to landowners, some of them are open, some of them aren't open, and so we're ultimately going to do what the landowner's comfortable with and okay with. We've also started conversations with DNR, IDALS, Nature Conservancy, Natural Heritage Foundation to see their interest in funding some of this stuff. And there's a lot of interest from these organizations in stream stabilization, especially when you compare that with water quality components. And so that would be another part, would be us having some preliminary conversations with those groups again to see what kind of money they would be willing to put forward, either to fund the storage pond on here, to fund riffles, remeandering, oxbows, I know I've talked with, Doug with rural water systems. He's got some areas along here where he wants to put some aquifer recharge wetlands or some oxbows. Again, those are practices that IDOLS is willing to pay for.
Those sections that are on drainage.
Is that below us? Okay, that's below us, so, but again, opportunities there for funding from other groups, so the district would not have to front all those costs.
Groups like our Heritage Foundation, do they put stipulations on it though? If they fund it?
So they're primarily, from what I know of them, is they primarily just purchase land, to preserve it. And so that would be, the landowner would have to be willing to sell a portion of their land then, which again, we'd have to walk through that with the landowner and figure out if that's something they're okay with or not. But the kind of point or having conversations with them is to figure out if they're interested and if the funding is there. And so far, we found the answer to be yes, but we do need to put together more solid numbers for those groups so they understand what they'd be committing to. And obviously, all the concepts that we put together have to be approved by you all and then the landowners as well.
If we allow you to keep moving on with this, where are we at with dollars now and where are we at with what it's gonna cost? We're spending somebody else's money actually, so.
Yeah.
Do you know where we're at all or?
I could find those numbers for you. I've not looked at them recently, on what you currently spent or what the district has currently spent on this. Our rough cost estimate for next phase is roughly 30 grand.
Okay. Mike, what kind of interest you think 30,000 is acceptable with what we got? Or,
Well,
you talk to the people.
when we were out there with them, you know, how you talked about, you know, some landowners were into straightening it and getting rid of the water. Those were the row crop farmers wanted to get rid of it. And then we had a whole nother breed that were into the environment and stuff. So we have two different likes, you know, so I think being very open and inviting them to these meetings so they understand that, that's gonna be the big thing for like moving on. I mean, how far do you wanna go into that? Because as far as, you know, fixing the river, they all wanted it fixed, you know, they all had different ideas and outcomes. And they know, some of the row crop farmers, they know what it was gonna cost. They thought, you know, a couple $1 million it's gonna cost to fix this, you know? So that's the number they had in their head. And then some, you know, they didn't talk numbers. So. That was just a small talk we got.
Thank you. What are you guys' thoughts? Move on with this or?
Stopping where we're at isn't accomplishing anything
Well,
that they're wanting.
I don't think we have much of a choice.
We need to get the options and present them and see if we can find a.
I feel that as well, you know, the options of. So when they make a decision, if you have something drawn up and have these options, it'll be more clear to them and to us as to what's gonna happen, you know? You gotta go with that.
And along with those options, obviously we'll break out the cost of what each one is gonna cost. And with the alternative methods, like I said, with these other entities we're having conversations with, we'll be able to get an idea from them on what they'd be willing to commit. So if it's traditional method, that's gonna be all funded by drainage district across their funds. If it's alternative, that's when there's the opportunity of like, hey, maybe you might lose 2 acres of ground here from production, but it's gonna restabilize your channel and you don't have to pay for it, or the drain district don't have to pay for it. Because it's a water quality benefit or it's a stream benefit. that the DNR or somebody else is willing to pay for.
I guess another question was, that was very concerning to some farmers was, you know, the people that are paying for this in the drainage district, they were talking about the annexation of people further away from the river participating in the funding of that as well, annexation.
Yeah.
Who's all paying for it? Just the people on the river or the ones, you know, back away from the river that are benefiting from it as well?
It would be the whole drainage district, wouldn't it?
Right.
Would have to pay for it, but they wanna annex more land to get the cost down.
So that would be opening up, reclass there.
Yep, I understand. That was a concern.
How many acres is that drainage district? I did not scan it.
Well, district is talking about how much land was damaged from flooding
Yeah, so,
prior to construction.
yeah, 700 acres for the floodplain,
Yeah.
so, I'm guessing your district is gonna be larger than that. I can find that. for you.
Yeah. All right, what do you guys wanna do? Do we need a motion if you wanna move on? Assuming.
So we have to move on.
But 30,000 isn't gonna touch consideration of reclassification and annexation. Is that something that needs to be brought into it, or not?
I don't know.
Or do we, I guess my first thought would be, let's authorize the repair options and pursue project funding. And at that point, when they're presented, we
Yeah.
can get an idea or estimate on reclass and annexation and present that as well.
Yep.
And I'll add in there, just to make clear, this would be concept level, so this would not be construction documents for anything. So that would be-
Cost estimates on
Yeah.
that concept.
Was that a motion, Jason? Do we need a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion for authorization to proceed with repair options and pursuing project funding with reclassification, annexation considered at a later date.
I would support that.
Yeah.
Motion by Vandy Hook, support from Helmers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Anything else?
That's all I got related to that. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
I have to leave, but I'll try to get to you before I leave on the beach tomorrow. I get contact with our attorney. Is that okay?
That works.
Okay.
I did forget this. This is part of that IDOL wetlands,
Oh, okay.
which is just an authorization form or a waiver. Since we're not attorneys, we're just engineers. It goes back to that 051 form and having your insurance agent.
I don't think
together
Yeah.
and waiting us to prepare.
Do we have any other thing, anything else? I may
Yeah.
take a motion to adjourn.
Sorry, I forgot.
That's okay, you can go back in there.
Motion from Mr. Schulte, support from Mr. DeBoer to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried, we are adjourned, thank you again.
He has something, when you go back to regular session, he forgot something with
Oh,
idols, so.
okay,
Yep, so I apologize. So.
it's okay.
We're not back into regular session yet, right?
So jumping back to that IDOL's wetland, going through those bidding documents.
Okay, cool.
Just
I'll make a motion to reconvene our
Yeah.
regular session.
have a motion to reconvene our normal session from Vandy Hook. Support from Mr. Ryan, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, we are back in session.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is a waiver that I need to sign for us to proceed with doing all these bidding documents and putting all this together, and this is just fine that you guys acknowledge that ISG, is an engineering firm and not attorneys. And so this does not constitute legal advice, which is why we recommend to have an attorney look at all these documents. But it authorizes us to put them through anyways, but yeah, they recognize that we're not attorneys. Is that okay?
We're not gonna sign that. I always gotta have something. We need a motion to
I would
go ahead and
think
have him
so.
sign this.
Yeah,
I'll make that motion.
Motion for Mr. Schulte to sign those documents. Do I have support?
Looks like you're not gonna get them signed.